And 3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's so cool. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 controversial, our best Formula 1 races of all time, in my opinion. These races, guys, if you were never into Formula 1, this would get you into Formula 1. Now, listen, a lot of you know I was a race car driver back in the day, and I love it. I miss it every day, love it, it's unbelievable. And even I can admit, there's some races out there that are just insufferably boring, okay? Incredibly boring. And this is coming from a man who's biased towards racing. But, you know, I suppose a lot of ways, there's many sports that can be very boring from time to time, right? Luckily, Formula 1 these days is getting much better, which is great. We're in 2023 now, and the downforce is really getting better, where the cars are definitely getting more on a level playing field. There's no doubt about it. Now, this year, 2023, the cars have got 5% downforce, or they lose only 5% downforce. That's what they're saying. Now, that's hard to believe because 5% is bugger all. Now, basically what that means, guys, is that when a car is following another car, right, they're right behind them, there's the wind, okay? The downforce pushes the wind on the car, down to the downforce pushes the car to the ground, gives the car more grip, in technical terms, right? And the thing is that before, the cars used to lose up to about 40% downforce, which is an unbelievable amount. So in other words, like, you're not getting past the guy in front of you most of the time. But now they've got it to a 5%. Now, 5% is still a lot, right? 5% can still completely fuck you up behind if you're following somebody in front. Believe you me, guys. Right, you'd have to get a good run onto the straight, make sure you get a good slipstream, pull out right in front of him, bang, and you get right into the lead. But, you know, that's, again, it's getting better. It's getting better. But look, all right, let's just go straight into it, because, guys, if you're into Formula 1 now, and I think a lot of people are now who listen to me on social media or the podcast, you guys are watching Formula 1 Drive to Survive. I mean, what a show, guys, honest to God. Like, I've been behind the scenes. I know what team owners are like. The corruption, the lies, the bullshit they fucking spread around the place. It's insane. I'm on about team owners. I've seen the drivers. I know the way drivers act. I know the way that engineers act. I mean, it's, in a way, racing is a small, small world. Now, I love it, miss it, like I was saying. And even for me, if you haven't seen Drive to Survive, even me, who I know the world, and I would see it differently than a lot of people, you gotta watch it. It is fucking brilliant, guys. And I think, what is there now? Is there 4 seasons now? 4 episodes? Yeah, 4 seasons, right? So believe me, guys, there's plenty of watching. You gotta get onto it right now. Formula 1 Drive to Survive on Netflix. Simply breathtaking. So I'm glad that it's really now hit like everybody's interest. I mean, I did an episode a couple of months ago on Drive to Survive, and guys, like, I gotta tell you, there's women coming up to me now. Now, women were never interested in Formula 1 ever, right? Never. And now I have women coming up and stopping me on the street. Hey, geez, Peter, so that's the stuff you used to do, yeah? I'm like, well, similar enough. But they're in. They're all in. They're watching every race every weekend. It's amazing. It's spectacular. So, guys, here are the 5 races that, for me, are probably the most entertaining of all fucking time. Are not just necessarily entertaining, but meant a hell of a lot. So I definitely reckon, guys, you should go on YouTube, check these races out if you're into Formula 1. Because these are, and I think, even if you think they're not the best, they're right up there. I think you're definitely going to enjoy these. So, We're going to start at number 5 and then work down to the best. Coming in at number 5, Senna and Prost at the 1989 Japanese Grand Prix was fucking unreal. The controversy, just the tension was unbelievable. I mean, here you had Senna and Prost at the last round of the 89 World Championship season. Senna had to win the championship, and Prost, well, basically just had to finish in front of him and make sure he scores points to be safe. Right? So the pressure was on Senna. Now, in a way, the pressure wasn't on Senna because he had nothing to lose. Right? So it's interesting. When you're in that situation, sometimes, well, if you got nothing to lose, there's no fucking pressure on you then. So it was really cool. And then they're on the track. Senna doesn't make a great start, unfortunately. Prost takes the lead. Now, for the first half of the race, Prost was dominating. Right? It looked like it was all over. Job fucking done. Senna pulled it out of his fucking ass. He caught Prost. And, guys, you need to check this on YouTube, all right? It's brilliant. Senna goes for the inside gap, right? Because he has to beat him, right, in this stage. Because Prost is in the lead. So what does Senna have to do? He's got to win now. He's got to overtake Prost. So Senna goes for the gap. Prost decides to be a dirty little fucker and closes the gap in on him. Now, you'll see exactly what I mean, guys, when you see it on YouTube. And the two of them go off. Now, it's clear as day, Prost drove into him, right? He did it quite smart because on camera, you can see that it's a right-hand corner, and Senna goes for the inside gap on the inside, right? So the two of them are going to be turning right into the chicane. So Prost did it quite cleverly, I have to say, because if you didn't know racing, you'd think, well, hang on a second, wasn't that guy Alain Prost just turning into the corner? And to be honest, guys, that's fair enough. I've had quite a bit of experience at racing, and I fucking know it myself. Prost drove into Senna. He didn't drive into the corner, he drove into Senna. Right, so it was a dirty move. Okay, it really was. Now, here's what happens. So it looks like the two cars are beached, right? They're stalled on the fucking track. They're out of the race. Prost actually jumps out of the car pretty quick, which I was kind of surprised because you think, well, hang on a second. Is he going to try and keep fucking going here? Now, I don't know how much damage he had on his car. Maybe he did. But the attention was off that anyway. Because it was all about Senna and Senna losing out. And what the fuck is Senna going to do now? Right? So, Prost jumps out of the car. Senna is screaming at the marshals, right? Get me, go. So Senna's trying to get the marshals to push his car, to jumpstart his car and get going again, right? So Senna gets the car started. And just ahead of the chicane now, guys, there's another type of chicane, right? It's a mobile chicane where it's made out of tires. So basically what they did was they used this part on the left-hand side, again, just the chicane that they meant to turn in on the track is a right-hander, and just after the chicane on the left-hand side there's the tire wall, the tire chicane, excuse me. Now the idea with that is, guys, is that if something happens, your brakes go, or not necessarily brakes go, but something happens to your car where you've got to go off the track, or you just lose your braking spot, right, and you just overcook it going into the corner. Well, then you can use that chicane, get out, back onto the track again in a safe fashion, and off you go again, right? So Senna, because the way he's beached on the track, the only place to fucking go is go through that chicane, unless he reverses on the track. Now, believe me, you don't want to be reversing on the track because there's guys coming up at 200 fucking miles an hour, right? And they're breaking down into either first or second gear, and then off again. So the last thing you want to be doing is reversing on the track. So it makes all the logical sense in the world to be actually going through that chicane, nice and slow, get yourself ready, shake it down, and off you go again. So Senna goes through, and what happens? Senna wins the fucking race. And technically, the World Championship. Now, here's where this motherfucker, Alain Prost, is a sneaky little fuck. Now, this guy decides to go off and complain to the marshals and the official, the head steward, and says, well, he shouldn't have driven through the chicane. What he was technically, and I'm quoting here, technically what he should have done is reverse on the track and then keep going on the actual track. Now, the guys, like I said, that's bullshit, because he could have killed somebody if he reversed on the track. And guarantee you, they would have penalised him anyway if he reversed on the track, because they would have said he was fucking dangerous driving, right? But they use that as an excuse to dock Senna and fuck him out of the championship. Now, by the way, at that time, the head FIA official, who's the steward, clerk of the course, whatever you want to call him, the main guy who does the rules and regulations for Formula 1 at the time, was a French guy. Now, forgive me, I can't pronounce his name. Ballesteros, I think? Something like this. Ballestero or Ballesteros, right? French guy, a real fucking pig, ignorant prick. Now, Alain Prost, French guy, and the two guys were like best buddies, right? So he was looking after his own French boy, right? Which is unfair. That's completely unfucking fair. Now, and guess what? This guy, Ballesteros, or whatever you call him, he was a fucking Nazi. Ladies and gentlemen, I shit you not. In World War II, this guy was a Nazi. In the fucking Nazi uniform, the whole fucking gear. There's even photos of him on Google in his Nazi outfit. So this is the type of person we're dealing with here, right? Now, so what are you going to do with that? So guess what? Senna gets disqualified. I think it was a disqualification. And Alain Prost wins the race. Now, guys, apart from all that, Nick, Senna is my favourite. Definitely. Alain Prost, he used to be one of my favourites. But actually, it's funny. As the years went on and the more mature as I grew up around racing, the less I was impressed with Prost. Like, he was a really good driver. And I even remember Joe Ramirez. He was a McLaren engineer. This was the most stupidest, retarded fucking comment I've ever heard in my life. He said, Alain Prost is the best of all time if the car is perfect. I mean, he was untouchable, apparently. I don't know where he's getting that stupid statement. If the car is perfect for any driver, if the car is perfect, that means you've got the best car, best engine, best everything, and it's the best, right? Because there's no such thing as a car perfect. But if he's saying perfect, well, anyone would in that scenario. Anyway, but I mean, Prost he was definitely really good. There's no doubt about it. He just wasn't as good as people thought. But guys, so that's coming in at number 5. Senna and Prost, Japanese Grand Prix, 1989. It was unbelievable. Just the drama, the sheer drama of it. Gotta check it out on YouTube. Okay. Coming in at number 4, Schumacher and Hakkinen. Oh dear God. This was one hell of a fucking showdown. This was the last round of the year. Oh my God, I've just got brain fade. I just had all this information. What was it? 1999? Anyway, YouTube it. Senna and Schumacher showdown. And it was the last round of the year. Oh, sorry, that's right. It was 99. And Schumacher came from Benetton, where in 95 and 96, he won the 2 championships in a row. And then he went to Ferrari. He didn't win anything then for years, right? So the pressure was really fucking on Schumacher. So Schumacher's on pole, I think as far as I remember. Schumacher's on pole, Hakkinen's off pole. Hakkinen gets a blinding start, takes the lead, Schumacher off pole. Schumacher is now in second, right? So as the race is going on, Hakkinen definitely has an advantage. Now, he's not pulling out much ahead of Schumacher. He just pulled out a bit at the start, and then he kind of just kept his composure, and he kept the gap. So he wasn't flaking away into the distance much, right? He was a little bit quicker than him. Then, all of a sudden, it starts to fucking rain. Now, when I say rain, it wasn't coming down buckets where they had to change tires. It was just greasy now, right? They stayed on the slick track, the slick tires. And all of a sudden, what do you see? The rain maestro, Schumacher boy, he starts coming back up, closing the gap on Hakkinen, and it just turned into a blinding race. Now, guys, what makes this race so good is that the amount of pressure that Schumacher was under to win the championship. Because again, like I was saying, he came from Benetton, 2-time world champion. Senna was, unfortunately, he passed away at this stage. God love him. And he was the guy. But the problem was, Schumacher wasn't getting the results. So even Ferrari were actually kind of turning a bit on him, going, is he this good? Did we make a mistake? You know, I mean, it was huge pressure for him. And I'm a huge Schumacher fan as well. But guys, you know, it's a brilliant race, even if you're not a Schumacher fan. And what I loved about Schumacher and Hakkinen was, Schumacher always said, apart from Senna, that Hakkinen was the only guy he ever feared when he raced. And Hakkinen was a scary qualifier. He was unbelievable. He was one of the greatest of all time qualifying. Some of the stuff Hakkinen did, the speed that guy used to carry into high speeds was, honest to God, it would make your hairs fucking stand on your neck, the back of your neck. It was unbelievable. So as the race goes on, Schumacher is kind of closing in on top of him. Then they do a couple of pit stops. Now, here's the wonderful dynamic of magic of Ross Brawn and Michael Schumacher. Ross Brawn was the engineer, the head guy in the team. Excuse me. The Ross Brawn-Schumacher combination, vicious, deadly. They were lethal together, these guys. Probably the best duo in Formula 1 of all time. Senna never had a Ross Brawn. Ross Brawn and Schumacher, I think for me, the best duo if you consider engineer and driver together. They were amazing. So the great thing about this race is Hakkinen looks like he's hanging on to the lead. He's getting some pressure every now and then because the rain came down I think it was about 2 or 3 times in the race, different sections, and then it would dry up again. So it was, the drama was unbelievable, and the rain came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden, Ross Brawn brings Schumacher in for a pit stop. Schumacher comes out ahead. And guys, the cool thing about watching this race is that even when you're watching it, you're actually saying to yourself, hang on a second, how the fuck did they do that? Because it just comes out of nowhere, Schumacher taking the lead. And I've watched the race over and over again, watching the pit stop. I won't go into too much explanation. You can eventually see how it happened, but if you watch it once, you're like, whoa, hang on, what the fuck just happened there? It's unreal, unbelievable. So guys, definitely. Now, Schumacher, okay, spoiler alert. So if you want to turn this off. But Schumacher ends up winning. And it was amazing. It was his 3rd world championship. And it was an incredible race to watch. Okay, coming in on the podium, coming in at 3rd, Schumacher in Hungary. Now, this for me is probably the 2nd best performance I've ever seen in my life. I think it's gotta be. This fucking race was unbelievable. It wasn't championship decider, but Schumacher needed this win. He needed to score as many points as he could to stay in the fucking fight for the championship. McLarens were way ahead of him. They were, as in, a lot quicker than him. So there was Coulthard and Hakkinen. They were in the lead. Schumacher eventually catches Coulthard, gets him. Then there was pit stops. And then Schumacher had to pull out, I think they said 19 qualifying laps. As in, you need to do, Michael, 19 fastest lap in a row to overtake Hakkinen for the lead. And the fucker didn't do every single lap because he actually went off on one corner in one of those laps and he lost 5 seconds. But every other lap, was just pure Michael Schumacher fucking magic. It was unbelievable to watch, guys. I mean, yes, a racing driver should be able to do this type of qualifying performance in a race when you have to, right? You got to pull it out of your ass, right? But it was just the way he did it. It was fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap, fastest lap. And then he obviously had a bit of an off. But you could tell that Schumacher didn't have the best car. And the way he was just nursing, muscling the car aggressively, especially into the Hungary chicanes, was... honestly, guys, it was incredible to watch. I honestly think it was his best performance ever, of all time. Because he needed to do what he had to do. And it was a call from God. Michael, you need to step up, son. And he fucking did. Guys, Michael Schumacher in Hungary, 19 fastest laps. That's what they were trying to get. It was simply fucking sheer genius from Schumacher. Now, let me just double check the year, actually, because I think this was 98, actually. Just scrolling through. Yeah, that's right. Hungary 98. Yeah, so check that out, guys. Michael Schumacher, Hungary 1998 with the Ferrari. Okay. Coming in at number 2. Now, for me, this is actually my favorite. This is the greatest moment I've ever seen in Formula 1 of all time. However, this episode is what's more dramatic or more entertaining, right? So I'll stick with that, okay? But for me, this is my favorite, but I'll put this at number 2 for today for entertainment-wise. Ayrton Senna in Brazil, stuck in 5th gear. This, to me, almost makes me cry, guys, when I even talk about it. It was unbelievable. It was Interlagos, Brazil, his home track. He's leading the race. He gets stuck in 5th gear. Now, guys, and then he wins the fucking race. Now, guys, you might think that, okay, well, so what, big deal. Guys, this track is a very, very tight track. Right? There's some 2nd gear corners, there's 3rd gear corners, 5th, 6th gear corners, and the camber on the track, it's uphill, downhill, and severe uphill and downhill. And these guys back in the day didn't have power steering. So it's even harder for these guys to muscle these cars around. I mean, it was unbelievable. And he gets out of the car at the end. He actually had to be helped out of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I have ever seen a Formula 1 driver had to be helped out of the fucking car at the end. And even to make it more romantic, he was on the podium. He tried to lift the trophy above his head. He got it up for about a second, and he had to put it down because he was going to drop it. If you see the emotion on his face, he's almost in tears. He couldn't move his shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to win a race and you put everything into it, and I can tell you this, guys, most Formula 1 drivers would have bitched and moaned and complained, and they would have tried to keep the car going around the track, and they would have given up and fucking cried to their engineers, and they would have retired the car. Okay? And these Formula 1 drivers these days have power steering. Senna didn't have it. This just gives you an idea of how fucking tough Formula 1 drivers were back in the day, not like these bitches we have these days. It's ridiculous. So, to see Senna get out of that car that day, simply, guys, it was breathtaking. It was breathtaking. So check that out. Senna, Interlagos, McLaren, stuck in 5th gear, winning the race. It was unreal. Okay, before we finish today, we have the number 1 spot. Verstappen and Hamilton. Abu Dhabi, final lap of the 2021 fucking season. Oh dear God alive. I think there's a lot of people that are listening to this. I think you'll agree that was one hell of a fucking showdown. My God. And quite honestly, guys, I'm a fair guy. I'm not the biggest Lewis Hamilton fan. Well, sorry, I'm not a Hamilton fan. He's really good. I'm not a Verstappen fan anymore. I was a Verstappen fan, but not anymore. And I'd be fair to both of them. Hamilton didn't deserve what happened to him on the last lap. No, he didn't. But Verstappen didn't deserve what happened to him on the first lap. So you know what? Tough fucking shit, assholes. Stop complaining about Hamilton still. People are still complaining about Hamilton a year and a half later. Right? Hamilton got away with fucking murder too. On the first lap, Hamilton goes off the track. He goes a little wide. So he gained an unfair advantage because it was almost like taking a shortcut. Now, really, Hamilton should be giving that length he gained back. Right? So he needs to slow down because he gained an unfair advantage. But he didn't. He kept the fucking lead. So either way, guys, it cancels it out. And I don't care what anybody says. Either way, they both got fucked in that race. Verstappen got fucked a couple of times during that year. Hamilton got fucked a couple of times during the year. Either way, it cancels it out. Simple as that. Now, what happened? As we all know, safety car on the last lap lets 5 of the top guys sit right behind the pace car. He lets everybody else go past. Now, you see, the problem is here, if the steward, clerk of the course, the guy at the time, if he let Hamilton and Verstappen get blocked up with other cars behind them, there would have been war. If he let every other car go through, there would have been war. Either way, this guy was fucked. So actually, he knew he was making a mistake by doing what he did. He just didn't finish what he needed to do. In other words, what you need to do on the last lap is let every other back marker, which the cars that get lapped, let all them through, and then you've got the leaders right behind you in perfect order, and off you go. So he knew he did half his job, let's say. And then he said, right, well, we're going to continue on with the race now. So he knew either way it was fucked. But, like I said, people get fucked in racing a lot of the time. Honest to God. And it was amazing to even just watch it. I mean, when you're watching the race, you're thinking, okay, that's it. Hamilton's won his 8th championship. Here we fucking go. And then the last lap. I mean, like, in a way you actually didn't want, like, you wouldn't have wanted anything else to have happened before that last lap. Because it made it more controversial. It made it more dramatic. Just out of nowhere, last final lap, it all just explodes. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then obviously Verstappen comes out ahead. So guys, I presume everybody in the world seen that last lap on YouTube or they saw it live. But if you haven't seen it, watch it now. It's incredible. So guys, that was so cool. That was so fun and exciting. That's the top 5 for me. Be interesting to see what you guys think. Please obviously send me an email to peter@thepeterwalshshow.com or drop a comment on social media. They're my top 5. Some of them are amazing. Some of them are just my personal feeling, sentimental feelings. And yeah, guys, Formula 1, if you haven't seen Drive to Survive on Netflix, please do yourself a favor and go watch it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you again.